I'm just waiting for the arrival of my friend and colleague Joey Pyle, and I will explain to you the essential business of this live broadcast. Hopefully Joey is au fait with the whole procedure. I'm going to send him a request now, 1 second. Okay, there's an invitation sent for Joey. I can see one person's in the house. I don't know who it is yet. What it is that we have an exciting new innovation to tell you about. A project that Joey approached me with a little while ago. Davey Stebbs has it going. Based on disillusionment, not me personally, but Joey is somewhat disillusioned with the professional boxing scene as it stands, having worked in the business for a lot of years as a manager and promoter, and he's decided to go another way with something, and he's going to tell you what it's all about when he gets on here. Terry Clark in the house as well. Terry, I know you will be somebody who is possibly a little bit jaded with professional boxing in the 21st century. I know we've had conversations about it over the years and how things have degenerated, you know, from your perspective and mine. If I can just get Joey on, hopefully he'll be responding to this request to come and join me any second now. We'll explain to you what Joey in particular is postulating, and a new kind of combat format that he wants to trial in the UK. I say in the UK, but no doubt he probably has global projections with this if it goes well. Whenever you're ready, Joey. Just waiting for Joey to actually see the request and get on here. I can see David McMillan's also watching as well. In the meantime, being a consummate professional who doesn't like to come on live and just say nothing, I don't want to give too much away about the thing with Joey. And also, to be completely honest with you, I don't know an endless amount about it anyway, so I would be learning as much as you would. But in the meantime, let's talk about something else while waiting for Joey to get here. You know, there's actually quite a busy weekend of boxing. You've got Joseph Parker, Junior Farr fighting in Auckland for the so-called WBO Oriental belt. Big one, of course, is Canelo Alvarez making his mandatory defence against Avni Yildirim tomorrow night. I say the big one. I don't think anybody is usually excited about it. I mean, I think we've discussed precisely how astronomical those odds are. I mean, I've looked, you know when you look for value in a bet, where you look and think, well, even though there's an absolute, you know, prohibitive favourite, you still look for value and think, you know, sometimes you can find ways. I'm trying to think. There was a really prohibitive favourite. The last time Canelo fought, I bet on him to win. I think I bet on him to win on points by the distance, and points was really good. I can see Jason Reynolds tag Glenn McCrory there, my old mate. I did mean to call Glenn recently. Yeah, you know, I think I bet on Canelo on points last time, and it actually wasn't a bad bet. It was really a decent price. But if you look at the odds for Canelo versus Yildirim, there's no value I can see anywhere. You know, my best idea was to try and predict the total number of knockdowns. And let's say you think there might be 2 knockdowns, because I mean, obviously it's impossible to say, but if you imagine there'll be 2 knockdowns, he gets on top quite early whenever he feels like it. He puts the fella over once, the guy gets up, he puts him over again. I think there's a decent price on 2 knockdowns total in the fight. Obviously, you know, the future's not ours to see, but that was the only value I would, you know, that I could find in it. Joey Pyle is here, but can't seem to see a request. Are you on your phone, Joey? If you're on, are you on the? Yeah, you got it. You've got it now. Here we go. I'll stop waffling on about Canelo and Yildirim because I didn't come here to talk about that. Here he goes. All right, Joe.
Yeah, good. I think I'm in. Am I on?
You are, yeah. The thing I'm slightly concerned about is now you're on the screen. You're perfectly framed, but it's cut the top of my head off. Although you might say, no big deal, you know, doing me a favour. But no, that's all right, mate. All very good. So, Joey, I was just explaining before you came on here, you're a veteran boxing insider who grew up in the game to a great extent. And, you know, you cut your teeth on the unlicensed scene quite famously. And for many years, you've managed fighters and promoted board-affiliated shows as well. you know the business, you know the trials and tribulations of it. And I believe very recently you've become increasingly disillusioned with that mainstream boxing business in this kind of professional.
Yeah, it's look, I love boxing. Always had loved boxing. As a fan, you couldn't get a bigger fan than me. But on a business side of it, I can't stand it. You know yourself, Ben. You know, I've been involved in it in so many years, in so many aspects. It was funny when you say the unlicensed. I'm quite wasn't, you know, my dad and everything known for the unlicensed. But I actually started off in the pros first.
Yeah.
Back in '99, and then but lately, you know, we give it a good go a couple of years ago, 3-4 years ago, and we had a great stable of fighters, and you know, we had like ABA champions, Three Nations champions, boys signed, Frank Walton, boys signed, you know, left, right, centre, getting fights on BT TV. The politics side of it, I can't stand. You know, the loyalty side of it, I can't stand, Ben. You know, it takes 3 years to build a fighter. After 3 years, they want to piss off and go with someone else. You know, someone dangles something in front of them, and you end up losing them. You know, it's a horrible side of it. That side of boxing. You know, I love the boxing, but that side of it, I actually hate. You know.
And I believe you became increasingly bored with having to put together cards that was the left-hand side of the bill, right-hand side of the bill, with the ticket-selling burden upon the house fighters, and you were starting to feel that all hall promoters were forced to make cards that were incredibly uncompetitive because the way the business model was dictated.
Yeah, well, what you got to remember is, as a promoter, a lot of promoters have got backers. It's the same as like if you've got a big company, you've got investors. So, like, I've got to turn a profit on the shows. So, you know, when I'm putting a show on, I've got people behind me, or you know, other people we're working with. In the ideal world, what you're going to do is you're going to put a show together, and you're going to sell the place out at your call, and you're going to have 50-50 fights, and everyone's going to go away thinking the fights, you know, a great, fantastic night. And I'm going to go back to the people I'm working with and go, yeah, we just done 5-10 grand or whatever. But it don't happen like that. You know, and the reality is boxers drop out. You know, you're dealing with managers. You know, let's just say, like, when you're putting a show together, I do my job, but I'm reliant on about 20 or 30 other people to do their jobs.
Yeah.
Now, if they don't do their job, then it kicks back on me. You know, I'll give you a quick example. You know, I'm 5 days away from a boxing fight, and a manager gets his boy to go and get an eye test. Now, any manager who knows his sauce knows there has to get that on a British Boxing Board of Control form. He sends the boy in to get an eye test, and he hasn't got it, and then takes a day and a half to send it into the board. Now I'm ringing the board up, and the board are going like, they're saying to me, he hasn't got his eye test done. I said, well, he's had the bit of paper. They went, no, it hasn't been stamped by on the board, on the thing like that. And then you're on a 48-hour, the medicals are not in 48 hours before the show. So I lose the fight. I lose the fight because of the incompetence of the manager. And I ring him up and I say to him, you shouldn't call yourself a manager. You know, and that has a kickback on me. And then you're pulling boys in, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, I don't like the journeyman side of boxing. I never have done. I've always tried to make fights as fair as what I can, and even when I've had to get a journeyman, I've always, you know yourself, you've got journeymen who you know are absolutely diabolical, and you've got some journeymen who you know, if they get a sniff of the win, the kid could be in trouble, because every now and again, as you know, a journeyman's got to win the fight.
Yes.
You know, he can't keep it.
I think most of them are very capable and, you know, noble guys, but some of them absolutely don't want to win a fight. They've got no ambition whatsoever because they understand that it's purely a career to them. It's purely bread and butter. And some of them are still half kind of lively, like you say. But either way, I mean, this is the thing, Joey. I agree with you about the journeyman. So many people in our industry say, oh, these guys are the lifeblood. They're the salt of the earth. They're fantastic. And you know what? That is true, but that doesn't mean we should have them. They are a fantastic body of people in the main, and they're usually great guys, very happy-go-lucky, prepared to fight anyone, anywhere. Who wouldn't like a person like that? Who wouldn't admire them? But it's not good from any entertainment industry perspective, is it?
It was difficult for me as well because I'm a manager and a promoter.
Yeah.
And you know, I think at the time there was about 55 promoters in the country, professional promoters when I was last promoted. A couple of hundred managers. There was only about 20 promoters who had managers' license.
Yeah.
So I've actually got a conflict of interest when I'm promoting the show. So you know, and I'm aware of that. You know, first of all, I've got one of my boys boxing on my show.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I want him to win. Now, the conflict of interest is I'm not putting a competitive fight on. So you know, even though I'm going in it and I'm trying, people are going to me and they're interviewing me and they're saying like, Joe, how do you see this fight? And you're going, well, you know, it could be you know, really, it's cobblers. We both know what way it's going to go. We all know what decision it's going to go, unless the kid I've got, you know, the own boy, he boxes like a complete dosser. You know, he should win the fight.
So the question is, Joey, I'm sure the ladies and gentlemen would like to know, having got jaded and disillusioned with that format, what, so to speak, are you going to do about it, and what direction are you now looking to go in?
Well, I pulled out of boxing, you know, just before the COVID hit, to tell the truth. And I was disillusioned with it. I had other businesses. I've always done boxing, I've always done management and promoting as like a hobby type of thing, you know. I pulled out of it just before COVID. I was disillusioned with like I said to you, with a lot of loyalty from a lot of boxers. You know, so I pulled out of that side of it, and basically I'm quite content doing what I was doing with the other businesses. And then the last couple of months ago, a good pal of mine, Anthony McMullen, you know Anthony.
Yeah.
A pal of mine, a lawyer in America, who comes from England, boxed at Repton, David Ashton. He come to me, and the three of us, and we got talking together, and we said, no, listen, what pisses us off about boxing? What don't we like about boxing? You know, and then also, like, I've always been involved in the fringes on the MMA. You know, last year, you know, I've always gone out and trained in Bangkok with a Muay Thai. I've always loved Muay Thai. So we thought, what should we do? We'll do something. I said, I don't want to get back into the boxing game, because if you ain't got a TV contract, then forget it. You're just banging your head against a brick wall.
Yeah.
I said, so you know, let's create our own thing, and it was like we make our own thing. Like, MMA bores me the minute they get on the ground.
Yeah.
You know, a connoisseur of MMA or an MMA guy might go, oh, he's got him in an half Nelson. He's got him. But if you're sitting at ringside and they're on the floor for 10 minutes, you know, you're sitting there going, I can't see a thing unless you're looking at the screens.
I remember Hopkins famously said it looked like something rather homoerotic, and he wanted nothing to do with it.
I know. You know, it does. It bores me. Like it bores me rotten when they go at it. You know, Conor McGregor's got a good name because he likes to stand up and have a tear up.
So you decided to take the best elements of MMA in terms of the physical side, take out any of the wrestling in which you find boring, and take the condensed format. Is that where you're looking to go?
Yeah, it's a mix of the two. You know, we're not trying to replace the two, because that's ridiculous. You know, but we're trying to do our own thing. You know, with boxing, how many weight classes you got at the moment? I'm a boxing promoter and manager, and I've lost count. You know, so we're going to go back to having 5 weight classes. That's all we're going to have. You know. And we're going to go back to short fights. So you know, I like the unlicensed. What excited me about the unlicensed is they were short fights. They were sprints. They were you had no time to fiddle about, smell a guy out, sniff a guy out, have a look, muck about. You know what I mean? You had to come out round one, a bit like the amateurs years ago. You had to come out and you had to fight straight away, because if you lost the first round, you was in trouble.
Yeah.
So that's the concept we brought on this. We're going to bring it down to 100-second rounds. That's what we call it, Fight 100.
Yeah.
There'll be 5 rounds. We're going to introduce a new point system, which we're working on at the moment. We're going to put it in a very small. We're not going to do the octagon or a ring. We're going to create our own thing called the pentagon.
Yeah.
And we're going to put it in a thing called the pentagon. And it's going to be exciting. There'll be no grappling, no clinching. You're going to lose points if you hold.
Yeah.
We're still working on how we're going to do that. But you'll lose points if you hold, and it'll be like basically you got to stand there and have a fight. You got to have a tear-up.
I
And
think
elbows,
as well.
yep, elbows, forearms, uh, nothing below the belt, no kicking. It's basically like standing there in small gloves, and it will be like elbows, forearms, and punches.
Yeah.
And there'll be no draws either. There'll be no draws. If it's a draw at the end of the 5 rounds, we're going to have like what you have, like a penalty shootout, what you have in football. You know, there'll be a fight off for 100 seconds.
Okay.
And so there will definitely be a win on the night. There'll be none of that controversy, cobblers, which we all can't stand. You know what I mean?
Will there still be a 10-second count for in the event of a KO?
Yeah, we're working. It's got to be a countdown.
Okay.
It'll be a countdown. We're working on the rules at the moment with a. It's got to be completely transparent as well. So it'll be after every round. You know, we're not going to stick with a 60-second break. We're working on what we're going to do. Where it's going to be 100 seconds. It might come out longer. What we're going to do is we're going to have after every round the referee. We're not going to have referees. We're going to call them regulators.
Yeah.
And, they can't interfere in the fight. They can't dictate how the fight's going to go. You know, they can't stand there and keep clinching, keep breaking people up. They're there to keep the peace. They're there to keep the peace, so they don't get out of hand. That's all. They got no other jurisdiction apart from that. But after every round, the regulator will come out of our pentagon, and he will speak to the people outside the round, and they will go like, right, let's just say he held on for more than 5 seconds, he loses a point. And he goes bang, and he goes like that. And it's a bit like VAR, what we got in rugby and in football. And then they'll turn around and they go like, and after.
Just look like I lost Joey there a second. I don't know how I lost him. That was very interesting while it lasted. Let me get him back here. Sorry, guys. Joey just completely dropped out there. While he does it, let me hire my make my thing go a little higher. Joey Pyle, in 50 years, I'm 50 years old and current lockdown. I've got cabin fever. Yeah, no doubt, Jason. A few people are asking questions while I'm waiting for Joey to come back. I think Matt Bed with a Gale said, will there be a 20-second count? I don't know where that came from, Matt. Does that relate to another combat discipline that I'm not aware of? I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. Here comes Joey again, I hope. Yeah. Can't bring him on camera. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's happened to Joey there. I think he's adding somebody. Hopefully he's coming back in a minute. Thailand Wi-Fi. Is he in Thailand? Yeah. Sorry, Junior. Hopefully he's coming back. Like I say, I didn't realise he was in Thailand. To be honest with you, it says no answer from the live video guest. I hope you got the gist of that, guys. You know, I'm going to see if I am going to see if I can get him back. But if I can't, then I hope you got the gist of that. That Joey in compartment.
What happened?
All right, as you were saying.
So what we're saying is, so like after every round, it will come up on. It will be announced who's winning the fight. So there'll be none of that. Yeah, it'll come up and it'll go like, right, this, red corner's behind by 1 point or 2 points, and blue corner's behind by 3 points. So everything will be transparent. There'll be none of that where a fighter goes back and he's lost the last 6 rounds and his trainer's going to him, oh, you're doing well. Keep on doing what you're doing, coppers. You know what I mean? Like, his trainer will know exactly where he stands in the fight. And it will be, and he'll tell him straight away. He'll tell him, say, listen, you got to get a knockout. So we want that. We want to keep that excitement. Do you know what I mean, Ben? We want to keep that excitement.
So let's recap for the benefit of the people watching. We have a pentagon, a 5-sided, smaller cage. We have 2 combatants wearing 4 ounce or 6 ounce MMA. Yes.
Will it be 4 ounce up to one weight, and then they go up to 6 ounce probably after middleweight? I think it is. You know what I mean?
We've got 5 divisions. You've got a regulator with minimal remit, except just to keep the peace, as it were, to any blatant fouls. They have to no holding. They have to have a stand up. They're permitted to use other areas of the arms to strike with, as well as the fists. And you will have a 10-second countdown in the event that someone not resumed the fight.
And the fights will also be in a prize fighter format.
Yep.
So so there'll be a winner at the end of the night of the whole competition in a different weight class.
What's Wayne Samuel? Wendy Samuel's asking me, are we using Mean Girls? Is that a ring girl company?
No, that was who we used to. It was back in the unlicensed game, and we was probably one of the first where we had, you get like these trooper girls where they come along and do the ring cards.
Yeah.
We started it all off, years ago, with a girl called Wendy, and she created it. Come from Mean Machine Promotions.
Okay. Okay, so and also you've got open scoring as well, which takes away any of that kind of mystery and corruption. At least it holds it up to the light anyway. Makes it a lot harder for that to happen. Do you know the 5 divisions yet, Joey, or are you still tweaking the kind of names and the parameters?
Well, at the moment we're looking at lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight. Yeah.
Starting at lightweight.
That's what we're looking at the moment.
Okay. And how soon practically do you think you can launch this? I mean, presumably in terms of talent, you must be looking to boxing and BKB and MMA to see who wants to cross over and give it a go. Yeah,
there's quite. We've got quite a few interests at the moment, and like basically, with me background in the boxing and the unlicensed, there's a lot of guys who are interested in fighting at the moment. Funny enough, I was just having a conversation with someone at the moment. I said, COVID has actually done us a bit of a favour for us to be, at the moment, people are going, Joe, why are you trying to launch a boxing thing in the middle of a pandemic? I said, because there's 80% of boxers and fighters out there who ain't getting a fight.
Sure. Yeah.
At the moment, I said, and some of them, when it all does kick off, they're going to be out. They would have been out for 18 months. Do they really want to go for the rigmarole or trying to go back pro again when they've lost all that ground? And the amateurs as well at the moment it must be terrible for kids who was on the verge of boxing for national titles. And it's the same for them. They would have been out of the game for 18 odd months. Are they going to go back for the thing again? So we just want to do something a little bit different, something more excites us. I miss putting on the shows. I miss being involved in the gyms, and this seems like the ideal thing. And it's also exciting trying to create something.
There's a called Terry Ball who said, Joe, why don't you promote BKB? Would you like to come back to him and explain what's different about the new concept?
And I was looking at BKB a couple of years ago. I don't know. I'm not that much of a lover of BKB. Yeah. I respect guys, any guy who gets in the ring and has a fight. Any man, whether he's got gloves on, whether he's got wraps on, whether he's got, whatever else, I respect him. The reason that I was asked to go to BKB a couple of years ago, and it worried me, to tell the truth, Ben. I thought to myself, yeah, it's okay putting a BKB fight on, and, this is what I'm thinking at the time. I said, it worries me when fighters are fighting, but when you start talking about championships and they've got to make weight and they're fighting longer rounds and they're fighting with no gloves on, I said, it could be a recipe for, a fatality waiting to happen. And that was the reason why I pulled out of it, really, which I didn't really want to get involved in it. With, me, bare knuckle fighting has always been in the fairground, the car park. I like, it just excites me with all the gloves on.
Matt Gale has asked, what can it offer that isn't already on offer, essentially?
Well, it's combat. It's combat. So what we can offer is what you're not going to get is you're not going to be paying money at to watch the journeyman fight. That's one thing.
Yeah.
You're not going to be, going to a show and sitting there and you can see the whole side because it's in a prize fighter concept to start off with. So everyone's fighting to win the title.
Yeah.
You're not going to get fighters who are going to clinch their way through because they'll lose the fight, they'll lose points. So so you're going to see action. I always. There's a little scenario I said to someone the other day. I said, if I was going to give you complimentary tickets to an Olympic final day,
yeah,
what would you? Well, you got a choice. You can go and see the final of the 10,000 meters, or you can see the final of the 100-meter sprint.
I think the best example ever that less is more in some context.
Yeah, it's explosive. You know what I mean? Like, listen. People like me and you have been involved in boxing all their life. We can see when a guy's sitting there and he's putting on a master's class of defensive boxing. Right? We can see that. We can say, God, it's beautiful the way he slipped that shot, the way he moved, the way he's pulling the guy to the side, the way he's doing it. Do you know what I mean? All them moves, what people don't know about. We can look at that and respect it. But we're not the majority of the people who are paying money to watch fighting. The majority of the people who are watching fight want to see someone get knocked out. I want to see action. I want to see a great fight. Two fellas standing there and punching F out of each other. I want to see.
Some sort of aficionado. Even I much prefer a fight where it's fraught with danger in the sense anybody can get knocked out at any time. Even you look at Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell recently. It was a very exciting fight. Because up and downer, and you honestly were waiting for something dramatic to happen any particular given second. Sometimes you'll watch fights which are rather more, let's say, like Lee Selby versus Ricky Burns. It's a good fight, but they set into a kind of more pedestrian kind of routine. And you get the distinct feeling that neither one of them is going to hurt the other with anything, overly striking. So it doesn't matter how much of a purist you are. Everybody prefers a fight which is fraught with drama. And the potential for it.
Nigel Benn was one, wasn't he? He was excited. It was Nigel, wasn't he? He had his heart on his sleeve, and he went out there, and he was either getting knocked out, or he fought his heart out. And, that's why the crowd loved it. And, all the big names, all the big fights and stuff like. And, I was talking to someone about Mike Tyson as well the other day. Tyson was he was something very new on the scene when he came along. I've been involved, in boxing, as you know, watching fights all my life. Sugar Ray Leonard was my era. Sugar Ray Leonard, a very different boxer than Mike Tyson, wasn't he? A very different boxer. Tommy Hearns and people like that. But Tyson come along, he excited me more than any other fight I've ever seen in my life. It was just watching this creation of this world champion evolve, and it was you didn't want to miss the fight. Wherever you was, you didn't want to miss it. With him, and that was Tyson because he knew he was knocking people out. There was equal fighters around at the time who were great fighters, but they didn't have that danger about them. And that's maybe with a fight 100 what we're looking at. We're trying to get that element, that element of people jumping off their seats. I don't want to put a show on people sitting there on their mobile phones. I don't want people sitting on mobile phones or having conversations in the bar. I want to put a show on where everyone's sitting there and going, oh, Bob, excited by it. We've got the technology now. Boxing will evolve in time. How they're going to do it, I do not know, but every sport evolves. Rugby. You look at how exciting rugby is when there's a try, and also and they go like, hold up, have a look at the thing, and it comes from all different angles, and it goes like, has the ball come over? Has it gone over this way? Has it? It's exciting. The technology's there now for us to do that, and and it ain't happening in boxing anytime soon. So. Let's try and do it. What we're doing now.
Okay, well, it's exciting times. It's very much okay to watch this space. I look forward to what obviously I'm going to be working with you on certain aspects of the media side of it to begin with. So, you know, as much as I'm a die-in-the-wall boxing man, it's an exciting project. Look forward to being part of that journey. Is there anything else you wanted to say about it, Joey, before we leave on wanting more?
Yeah, we just, you know, look, we're very much at the embryonic stage at the moment. You know, we're just literally sitting there. We've only just, you know, been discussing it for about a month now, you know, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Next week, I'm going to be doing a fighter recruitment. There's already quite a lot of fighters what have been contacting me. Obviously, they want to know exactly what we're going to do. And like we only just announced the actual rules, what we've been discussing yesterday. So what I'm going to do now is that next week we'll start getting the fighters. We're looking at possibly like heavyweight would be a good one to start with in the summer.
Yeah.
Get that going, and we've got to get the ring.
Find trainers and coaches, Joey, because you're talking about a discipline which doesn't exist yet, and people to become coaches, you know, have that experience. They're going to have to learn as they go to an extent, aren't they?
Yeah, but don't you think don't you think that, you know, look, we all love boxing. Do you know what I mean? We all love boxing. Don't you think a lot of guys are getting bored, and you know, even some trainers, you know, knocking on the door and like you know, you see certain fighters, they go with certain trainers, and because they think the trainers have had a few fighters and stuff like that. Yeah, you know, they follow them, and you know, I hate that type of thing, to tell the truth. But you know, in the gyms as well, we've also got a concept with, you know, where we're developing the glove, the Fight 100 glove, which is going to be a very good a training app we're going to include into the glove with a competition and stuff like that with it. So, you know, there's a couple of little spin-offs, and what we want to do is make things exciting again. You know, we're not trying to compete with boxing, we're not trying to replace boxing. You know, it's ridiculous. What we want to do is you know, there's plenty of guys out there who don't want to be a professional, don't want to go down the road of having to get sponsorship and selling thousands of tickets, and you know, just to fight a journeyman. So you know, it might excite them, you know, because you remember when we had the prize fighter on Matchroom. Yeah. Everyone loved that thing, didn't they?
It was exciting.
Everyone loved it.
And it was so exciting compared to the normal, you know, having got used to training a guy for a 4-rounder for his debut, do all his fight one of the usual suspects who's got, you know, more intention of splitting the atom than of beating your kid. Suddenly, we've got 8 fighters, all wanting that 32 bags. And it was so exciting, staying in the hotel with the trainers and the different fighters, everybody with the camaraderie, but thinking, I want that fucking money. And it was great. The prize fighter was fantastic.
And there were some big upsets in that competition as well, wasn't there? You know, there was, you know, and the viewing figures, it was funny why they stopped it, because the actual Sky viewing figures were really good.
They were,
no, the viewing figures were very good for Sky. You know, obviously it was something to do with Eddie, why they stopped doing it or whatever else, but it was, you know, with a lot of boxing at the moment, I don't even watch it.
Yeah.
You know, unless I look on a paper and I think to myself, you know, when you've been involved in the game so long, you pretty much know when a fight's a decent fight or not, or it's going to turn out a decent fight.
Looks like you've frozen there for a minute, Joey, but sorry, it looks like you froze for a second there, but all right, Joey.
Yeah, but a lot of the time I don't even bother watching it, because you know, I know what it's going to be. You know, I know exactly what the bloody result's going to be. So.
Okay, well, I look forward to the journey. As I say, we'll be in constant touch as it moves forward. I'm gonna come on board and help you out with some of the media side of this and see where we go. But I think whetting the appetite at least, and we'll have a chat about it soon, and then we'll come back with some more interviews and some more promotion, and then more importantly, the actual fights, eh?
Yeah, definitely. I'll keep everyone involved, keep everyone, you know, what's going on, how we're progressing anyway. So it's exciting, and we'll see where we go with it, you know.
Okay, thanks, Joe. You heard first, Fight 100, get involved. Okay, see you soon, John. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Ben. Cheers, mate.